Would be fun. They do introductions before. Sometimes they do. You know?
What's that?
They do introductions in sessions, or they just.
They didn't in the one I was just there.
Okay. I wasn't sure. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. They talk about Act 48 and all this other stuff.
And like the rules about not standing in the aisle.
Right. Don't stand in the aisle. Thought you were a friend of mine from Carlisle, literally. Like you walked in, I was gonna say, Coach Wilson. Sorry, I was like, but you weren't wearing green. You wear everything green. So good morning, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I heard some of you like them, right? So when in Pittsburgh, you gotta listen to the Clarks, right? They're the local rock band that's been around forever. I like the Clarks a lot. That song is done. It was done by, like some other people covered it. But he talks a lot about the influences in the Yakutani River where he grew up in Collinsville, swimming, hanging out, fishing. Scott Blazer. Anyway, I'm Dr. Jim Bigley. Today we're going to talk a little bit about virtual integrity. Talking a little bit about, if you think digital citizenship, but this is taking that a little bit of a spin and being a good person online, not just don't post stupid stuff. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I am Director of Educational Technology at Bishop McDevitt High School in Harrisburg, PA, not the one in Philadelphia. There is a Bishop McDevitt in Philadelphia, WIN code. So I'm the one in Harrisburg that has the We have the honor of having LaShawn McCoy as one of our graduates. For those of you that are football fans. What's that? I'm sorry? Shady. Yeah, gotta get Shady. And there's another one, I forget his name off the top of my head. But that's where the home of those two famous football players, if you will. I'm more interested in the wrestling team, which produced some good athletes. So start off. I always like to talk a little bit about myself. That's my family at Christmas time. Yes, I am the father of 5. My daughter Sarah, some of you may know her. She has presented at this conference numerous times. She started when she was about 11 or 12 presenting at this conference. So she's now, for those of you who want to shock and know how long we've been doing this, Sarah's going to be graduating from college this spring. She's going to be a social studies teacher. She's doing her student teaching out in the Philadelphia area right now. Left to right, I got Josh. He's a senior at Bishop McDevitt. CJ is a freshman at Norwich University, a military college up in Vermont. Jacob is in the middle there. He's a freshman at Bishop McDevitt. And then Katie, she's 5. So riding on the back there. No, I couldn't get one with my wife in it, sorry. But today, we're going to talk a little bit about, my good friend Kevin Honeycutt once said, kids not only see the future, we have to survive in it. How do we get them to survive in it? How do we get them to be able to navigate these waters, right? How do we get them to be able to do it? They're making stupid choices online, right? But we let them out there. We let them be able to do these types of things. We let them be able to just freely roam. We all have filters in school, but when they get home, there's no filters. Some filters in schools are a lot more stringent than others. As a director of technology, I have found how they get around those filters, and trying to fight them. I mean, I've got an expensive, what do you call it, blanking here, content filter on my network. I pay a lot of money to have this device sitting on my network, and then I've got a redundant one in case that one fails or something. They still get around it and they play those darn games. You know what I mean? Unblockedgames.com. It's like the most popular URL. I'm constantly trying to block and get around it. I love this picture here. And speaking of Coach Wilson, he's the wrestling coach at Carlisle High School. You just literally, I'm sorry, you just look like a lot like him. This is his manager from a couple of years ago. I was there for club practice for my son, and she's sitting there with 2 laptops, a cell phone, and working on her homework while she's trying to manage and help with wrestling practice. These are today's connected teenagers, right? They're doing it all. And I don't know how they do it. They call it, some people call it multitasking. Research shows that it's actually just, they have the faster ability to switch between tasks. I'm getting old. It takes me longer to go from one thing to another, right? I can't do it as fast as I used to be able to and shift gears like these kids can. But they can I watch them. They can be playing League of Legends in this screen, be on FaceTime here and have a Discord chat going on up here, and they're able to follow all of it. I'm barely being able to focus on the guy that I'm trying to go forward to shoot somebody. And she's listening to music, if you notice. You probably, some of you in the back of my head, she's actually listening to music too. So how do they do it? Right? It's media rich. They're in these networks. They're talking to people. They're connected. How many of you have friends that you can instantly pick up your phone right now and get on an app and talk to someone from another country? A couple of you. Most of these kids can. They have connections all over the world. My son, he's like, I was texting my friend from England at 2 a.m. And that's why you're sleeping in and not getting up to get on the bus? They're Snapchatting people from all over. But it's also about creating. It's also about being connected. It's about social status for them. So where do they come in? How do they do this? Where is their relationship? And how do they fit into it? And how does it build on either A, their self-esteem, or B, their their lower level, how they feel about themselves? So we're going to talk a little bit about those things today. Because, for example, I talked about that. This is my son, Jacob, from a couple of years ago. He's playing Minecraft, right? And this is his friend Ewan, whose dad is a colonel in the Army stationed in Texas. So he came to, I live in Harrisburg, which is real close to the Carlisle military barracks. So they became friends when his dad was stationed there in college, or in school with the military college. They became friends, and he moved away because his dad got PCS'd, And now they stay connected. So he's playing again, he's talking to him, they're communicating through an app, playing the same game, playing in the same realm, building the same structures. Because their kids are completely connected. Data's a little bit old. 2015 was the last I could get it. 90% of teens are online, average of 5 hours a day. Anybody run a survey of their kids at their school? How much they're online or they think they're online? It's a lot of in and out, right? You know, they're on it for a minute, then they're out. Anybody allow cell phones in the hallways or in school and classes? The one in the back, a couple in the back. And what's that? Your high school allows it? We're in a mix of it right now. We're debating whether we want to fight that battle or not, because it's just becoming so rampant and so hard. Because this teacher over here, if they're giving an assignment, will allow kids to listen to music quietly. And this teacher over here is like, no, just no, ever. You get a green slip, you get detention, you get a demerit. You know? So there's a big mix, but as an administration, we need to talk about those types of things and have those conversations. 37% send messages to friends every day. What's it about? It's about the streaks on Snapchat, right? You wake up, I gotta hit the streaks. My son lost his phone privileges for failing a class. So he actually gave a friend his password to Snapchat so she could keep his streaks alive. Like, it kind of defeats the purpose. I'm like, because I went to him, I got one. I said, how did you get the streak? And he's like, I gave it to Mackie so she could keep his streaks alive. Like, it's that important to him. It's like a drug. Everybody knows about Snapchat streaks, right? Okay. I'm sorry?
I have no idea.
So when I Snapchat a message to you, so I take a message, we Snapchat each other, right? And you Snapchat back, that's like day one. And we do that every day. We have to do it at least once within a 24-hour period, right? And oh my God, they're so stupid pictures, right? Right, I'm driving it, and one night, the other morning, my son and I were driving to a wrestling tournament. It was dark, and I see this flash. I'm like, what the? And I saw another one. He's Snapchatting pictures of himself in the dark to his friends at like 6 in the morning. I'm like, dude, just stop. Like, what's the first thing we do in the morning? Right? Facebook. Is it Facebook or email? Email. I'm a Facebook kind of person. That's where I get the news. I found out one of the former students died in a car wreck over the weekend on Facebook this morning. So that's like what I woke up to. So thank you. Nice young man, did some good Samaritan stuff, but you wake up to that kind of news. It's kind of like, but then so half of my friends were like that, and the other half were talking about the debate. So it was really weird. Post photos on themselves. I saw lots of. How many of you have been following the Pete and C hashtag? The picture right out here in this rail, right? Everybody got to get the bridge in the background. Right? That's a cool picture, but we're all posting these photos. It's about social status and about being real online. How many of you have not posted something because you didn't think that you would know the connotations of how it would be taken? Have you hit I don't really want to post my opinion about that, right? Yeah, we all have. All the time. I so want to post a response to it, but I just don't really want to get into a political debate. Yes, I differ with your opinion, but I don't want this little message that I respond to a Facebook message to be misunderstood. Kids don't care. Okay? Kids really don't care. I saw some of you're taking pictures of the slides. I'll have a bit.ly link for my slide deck later on, okay? You're tweeting? Tweeting at Bigly Tech. Hashtag. So we're teaching these kids, right? We gotta, every time they go in the swimming pool, there's a lifeguard around. Basically what we're doing is we're putting in the deep end of the pool for kids who can't swim and saying, swim at your own risk. We're just not allowing kids, we're not properly training them with the tools. My 17-year-old had to go through, hours and hours of driving and take a test and things like that. No, we'll just hand them a cell phone and say, go. How do we get kids to get the skills that they need? You all had to go through an education. I went through an educational process to get my degree and learn how to use these tools and things like that. So these kids, we're not equipping them with tools. We're like, hey, here's Tinder, go. Swipe left. Or is it swipe right? I don't know. Wait, I got it, right? Are you swiping left or swiping right? It doesn't matter, does it? You could be a 14-year-old girl online. Nobody cares. Right? You could identify, right? It doesn't matter. You can be anybody you want online. In less than 5 minutes, I could be any one of you because I took your picture a little bit ago. Except for the couple people that walked in late. I took your picture. I could be any one of you online in less than 5 minutes. With a fake email address and a fake, any one of you I could be. So, and that's one of my things I always say when I stand in front of teachers and I do a presentation like this. If you don't have a social media profile, get one. Just to say, this is me officially. Take a picture of you standing in your classroom, somewhere in front of your school. This is me. I'm never going to post. I'm never going to tweet. I'm never going to do anything, but this is me officially. You can't get the little checkbox, but you can say, this is me. One tweet. One Instagram account. So what is actually virtual integrity? So a virtue or integrity is the quality of being an honest and having strong moral principles. This is great when I can talk to kids at Catholic school, right? It's easy. I can put the Catholic guilt on them, right? Adherence to moral and ethical principles. Right? These kids that I talk to all the time, I stand in front of them and I say, hey guys, would you walk into Sheetz down over the hill and steal a candy bar or a bag of chips? No, that would be wrong. But they will go online and download a $400 video editing program without even batting an eye. Or they'll find codes to get free access to games and downloads and don't even blink an eye. Like, what's the difference? You're still stealing. Nobody gets hurt in that. Yeah, they really do. It's tangible. Right? Because we just had an announcement over our loudspeaker that the manager at the local Sheetz, which is right down over the hill where all of our students go after school, right? And he's like, they're causing problems and we don't want to have that to happen. But they can't do that online. These kids can go to Pirate Bay, right? If you're not familiar with Pirate Bay, it's a downloading site. You can download apps and just about anything you want. From ebooks and apps to porn in a matter of a click. Your morality is the principles concerning the distinction between right and wrong or good and bad behavior. So now, here we go. We get kids that are posting things that they think is great and funny, but it's really, is it morally right? Is it fitting with what they've been taught? It's not about so much as, don't post stupid stuff, right? It's about, are they posting what fits with their moral beliefs? Republican, Democrat, even parents, adults do it. Are you posting what your political beliefs are? Are you posting those things with what you think is right? I call it, you are what you like. Facebook came out with this for a while ago. So you are what you like. How many of you have liked something on Facebook or on social media or somewhere, right? Just because you think you're going to do that. And how does that associate with your moral values and your integrity and what you stand for? Because it might be completely different. So taking those morals and values and then putting them into an online environment. And how does that all fit together? It differs from digital citizenship. So this is just the responsible use of it. So everybody's familiar with this. We've been doing this for millions of years, right? Don't post your name and address or your email address or your phone number online, but yet somehow they always get it, right? I can Google anybody. Right? The kid told me that one time, oh, you can't find me on Google. I'm like, yeah, I bet I can, So it turned out that he had participated in a youth track meet somewhere in the elementary school, that they had his name on there, and they had what school he is and what grade he's in. And I got the date. I said, yep, there you are. I said, because you went to a Catholic elementary school, chances are you went to this Catholic high school. I said, or you live in this school district, because that's about where it's at. I said, you're either at this school or this school. I had it. You are findable. It's not hard. So Dr. Jason Oler talks about the holistic and positive approach to helping children learn how to be safe and secure, as well as smart and effective participants in a digital world. So, if we do anything with like E-rate, we do anything with online protection, we have to build in these lessons on digital citizenship. The biggest part of digital citizenship these days is information literacy. Right, how many of you have clicked or disliked? You can't dislike on Facebook. I wish you really could. right? If you find an article that you don't like or something like that, you have to you see somebody post something. How many of you go out and Snopes it? Right? You have to, every time somebody posts an article anymore almost, that I really want to, before I click on that article, I take the headline and I go to Snopes or somewhere, Politico Fact or whatever it's called, and research it before I go in and read and see if I really want to talk about it, read about it. Because half the stuff that they post is fake. What's that?
Me?
Yeah, did you have a question?
Post the Snopes article that
Right below it.
they're
Don't even say it, just Snopes it, right there.
Yeah.
It's just Snopes, right? It's so much easier. And they're like, well, that's not true. Well, just, it's right there.
How many people shared outdated information?
Missing child, right? Missing child.
This in 2014. I'm like, did you actually look at the date on that?
Right.
Or that tomorrow Facebook is stealing your privacy.
Love that one. So, again, so we as adults need to practice good digital citizenship and virtual integrity, right? So here, this is a picture from the You Are What You Like app that Facebook had from years ago. You take a picture of it, and that's all the things that you like. How many of you have gone into your Facebook account and looked at the pages that you've liked and cleaned it up? Yeah. Go back and see what pages you like or what groups you joined. Especially back in the early days, when you first joined Facebook, like, everybody and their brother invite you to join and like something. Well, go back and see what they are and see if they still align. There's a test inside of Facebook too, and certain social media sites will tell you what your political leanings are based on how you think. See how right that is. And then test it with your kids. And see if it's the same what they think. There used to be one that was it Who Found My Lollipop or Who Stole My Lollipop? Anybody ever see that one? I don't know whether it's still alive or not, but it was like a hacker sitting behind a computer that would go through and find your Facebook, and they would go through everything that was publicly accessible about you. It was pretty cool. So I grew up like this, right? I grew up Sunday morning, Bugs Bunny was the thing, right? During the week, it was Mr. Rogers or Sesame Street, Electric Company, right? Banana Splits, right? How many of you just went tra-la-la, right? Not a big fan of Scooby-Doo, but it's all about the mystery, right? The guy in the mask, right? That's where I grew up. But now, I think my 5-year-old wants to have her own YouTube channel. But who are the influencers? If you walk around if you have devices and your kids are allowed to have them out at lunchtime or in class or in study halls or whatever, what are they watching? Do you ever look and see what they're watching? You have kids at home, what are they watching on YouTube?
Kids opening toys.
Kids opening toys. You must be elementary schools. What's the other one? High school, middle school. What's that? Video games. Hours and hours of sitting there watching people play video games. I don't get it. What's that? I have not seen those ones yet. I see lots of sports though. I see lots of sports in my school because the football players, they're doing Huddle. Huddle's the online recruiting video software that you can use to send to coaches and stuff, college coaches and stuff. So I get a lot of kids using Huddle. But they play these games. I have not seen the makeup ones, but I'll have to poke around. This time of year, I see lots of girls looking for prom dresses on their Chromebooks, right? I don't shut down shopping because we have a whole class that talks about business and finance and things like that and budgeting. So I have to keep shopping open on my network. But so the idea though is again, who are the influencers? How many of these kids will buy some app, game, makeup, whatever, right? Because of this. My 5-year-old knows who JoJo Siwa is. And when we went to Target and she saw JoJo shoes, she had to have them. Right? These bow thingy, bright colored shoes. She had to have them. Thank God they didn't have her size. You know what I mean? But she's 5. Maybe it's my fault for letting her have the iPad once in a while, but we play a lot of ABC Mouse. I love it. Okay? But she also goes on YouTube. 62% said they buy a product endorsed by somebody. Top 5 YouTube channels for primary school kids. That's crazy. So let's talk a little bit about some of the habits of virtual integrity, right? It's a good book if you want to get into it. By Daniel Lorman. It's not very long. It's a quick read. So we need to refresh our values in cyberspace. So we need to go back and look at what we tweeted. What have we done online that we might not be happy with? Has anybody ever gone back and cleaned up their social media and like deleted? Ooh, don't want that out there, right? To share the memories. Ooh, why did I share that? Oof, that one hurt, right? So, we need to get kids to do that. Clean up their mess. We need to tell kids that. Because, oh man, what the F did I just do with my life? I've seen those tweets, right? You can go into Twitter and search for tweets in your area, in the Harrisburg area, or whatever, your area or your school, right? And where things that are around you. So you can see, and then all of a sudden you see this kid, wait, that name looks familiar. Ooh, and then you got to go have a conversation with that kid, right? So they go and they take those, they clean that stuff up. Instagram pictures, right? We've all seen them, or Twitter, mostly Instagram. I've seen some of the Snapchat ones. Instagram pictures, girls in the bathroom mirror, right? Getting dressed. Might seem innocent, but to this 50-year-old guy sitting behind the computer that can actually access that, do we want that information out there? Is that how you want to be portrayed? I'm sorry.
I have a family member who got married way too young and got divorced way too young, and now she's doing nothing but bashing the ex-husband on Facebook. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, do you understand what you're doing?
Right. There's no good can come from that. And I see kids like, who are, they don't openly bash ex-girlfriends, but they talk about ex-girlfriends or boyfriends. Why the blank did I make that choice in my life? So glad that I'm not going to repeat that mistake, kind of stuff. So they make these comments, they're covert, but everybody in their circle knows who they're talking about. So we need to talk about it. It's not just saying stupid stuff or doing stupid things online. It's about, okay, you're hurting their feelings. It is bullying. Right? My daughter, Sarah, helped get passed the cyberbullying law with Senator Marsico years ago. She helped getting one. It's now a third-degree misdemeanor. So repeated cyberbullying is that, and we need to talk to kids about that and what it is and what the punishments are. Trusted accountability is talk to somebody about it. Have them look at your accounts, particularly an adult. So if you do any digital citizenship or you talk about virtual integrity in class, see which kid wants to share openly with everybody in the class one of their social media accounts. See if they're proud of it. I know a couple kids, I would display them. If I had their permission, I would display it because they are perfect. Because you know what? This kid's a good athlete. He's a good student. He's a role model for the school trying to get into college. But I don't have his permission to share it, or I would. But he's the what you want. But he's also out there every once in a while going, didn't have the best day today, really, blanked up, which is okay to say once in a while. It's not about being perfect all the time, because we do make mistakes. But it's also about taking this information and putting it and making it mostly positive and mostly aligning with his. He's very religious. He believes in his faith. And sort of things like that. I'm not making this all about Catholics, by the way. I'm just trying to. I work in this school, so he takes over and he does the. He does it all about his faith and praising and thanking God for his opportunities and things like that in his life. Apply helpful technology. So here again, we're looking at ways that you can go, and I'll show you a technique later, or actually you can do it right now. I talk about it later. Just Google yourself. Have your kids Google them. Have you ever Googled yourself? Right? Google your ex, right? Right? So that's the thing. Put your name, put your full name inside of quotes in Google and see what comes up. Are you happy with it? Can you change it? For the longest time, I did Jim Bigley or something like that, and some criminal in the middle of nowhere who was Jamie Bigley, who went by Jim or James, like that, came up first. I'm like, oh. And finally, after a while, it sort of like went away. But you can proactively change that. If you don't like the Twitter image that you have out there, get a new one. Right? Balance online and offline life. I try to do this a lot more lately, personally. My kids, not so much. And probably your kids too, and students. There's no balance. It's online all the time. It's constant. And there is no fighting it. If you have kids at home, I highly recommend a device called a Disney Circle. Anybody have one? It's a little device. It's about $50. It sits on your network. The kids have to join it. You can filter it. You can shut their internet off. I just go click, and their internet's off for the night, especially on their computers. So I don't pay for data for their phones. So now my older two, I do. They have data on their phones at college, but I don't. The two are at home. They don't have data on their phones. So at night, it goes off. I can set times too, which is really cool. And I can set filters. So for the younger one's device, I can have different filters than the older one's device, kind of thing. So it's really cheap. It's like a $50 device. It plugs into your home Wi-Fi. It's great. The other one you can use too, if you're really techie and you have your own router at home, you don't have the one from Comcast or Verizon or whatever your provider is. You buy your own router. You can use OpenDNS. OpenDNS will filter your network at home. So when I do these talks to parents and talk about bad apps and ways to filter and help kids at home, we talk about OpenDNS and circles and things like that. Humble authenticity is all about being, okay, yeah, I screwed up, sorry, mea culpa. Okay? And then becoming a cyber ambassador for good. We have this, I know they do it in Harrisburg, I'm sure they do it here, where like the Attorney General's office will come in, the local Attorney General's office will come in, and they talk about being good. So going out to a home and helping older people get online and search Facebook and try to find friends, or helping grandma fix a computer, or helping somebody do something in the community with technology. We try to get kids to go out and build websites for community, small businesses in the community, or help them start up, or help them show them how to manage Facebook and social media. All of your kids are on social media, but they don't know how to use social media. Every one of your kids, I almost can guarantee it, they don't know how to do any social media marketing to market themselves to college coaches. That's a skill on how you do it. 93% of boys and 62% of girls that were exposed to porn before the age of 18. That's scary. Yeah, it's scary. But it's so easy. It happened years ago in the early days of the internet, when my daughter was, my oldest daughter was 4 or 5, right? My wife went online and she wanted a Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs birthday party. So she went on Google and typed in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and didn't get Disney version, right? And just that quick. But we all wear masks online. We talked about that earlier, right? We don't post something. We post only the ones that look the best or highlight the good things that we're doing, right? I don't post pictures when my kids lose a wrestling match so much as I do when I win, right? I want the hand raised. I don't want them crying and stomping off the mat. I want the hand raised. Or when my son runs a bad race, right? I want the one where he's clearing the vault or running a record time. I don't post the ones when he drops 30 seconds off his mile time. We all do it. The kids do it because it's all about social status. So I said this a couple of times, don't post stupid stuff, right? Because as Dumbledore said, right, it's about our choices that make us who we truly are. And what we choose to post and what we choose not to post, and how we act online, it's all about us. Because everyone makes stupid choices. Right, yes, that's my daughter at 4, who, got all the, so that's, just gonna leave that one there, right? What's that? So that's her. But we can put a Band-Aid on it, we can fix it, we can mea culpa. Or how many of you have seen these, right? Pictures with the red Solo cup. What's in the cup? What are people looking at? What are people thinking when you post that picture of you at any event with a bunch of other people and you're holding that red Solo cup? It could be water. It could be moonshine. Nobody knows. But we can't erase them. We can go back and clean up our social media accounts. Surveys suggest, this is a fairly recent one, 2017, suggested employers are using social media to vet job candidates. We need to tell kids this. My son, who's a freshman in college, wrestler in college, said something kind of stupid online. A wrestling coach at another D3 college found out about it and texted him because he was recruiting him and was interested in it. It's like, why did you say that? They're watching. So when you talk to kids about how are they proactively taking control of their digital footprint, they're constantly sharing. One of the cool things about Snapchat, at least you get notified if they screenshot it, right? Instagram, Finsta, Twitter, those other ones, there's no filter. Text messages, whatever, there's no, I can save that image and share it to the world if I wanted to. But I see it all the time, and I'm sure you do too, depending on what grade level you're at, what level of school you are. In high school, it's just rampant. Kids just constantly. All right, my office is right outside the boys' bathroom. So I see them going in. I see them walking in like this. I watch them on the camera sometimes. They'll walk in like this. As they're opening the door, they're going like this. As they're walking out, they're going like this. It's like they're constantly on it. That's why they use the bathroom, right? Other than to vape. That's the other big one, right? Colleges. So this is just actually from January 13, 2020. Inside higher education, 40% say they check students' online social media profiles before accepting them into school. I always share this one with kids too. So this is me on my LinkedIn profile a couple of years ago. When I was looking for a job, I was consulting. I was out there actively looking for jobs and applying for jobs. Heather Brown I was applying for a job at IU20. She looked at my profile on LinkedIn, right? Here's another one. They're all looking at my profile. This lady was at iCivics. They all looked as I was applying for jobs at my profile on LinkedIn. So they are looking. They are checking you out. College coaches. This was one of my favorite ones. Dropped another candidate today due to a social media presence. These are real. Every once in a while you can get a college coach to come in and say something to kids and talk to them about it. These are all over. These are all over Twitter right now that you can show kids. It's not just football either. It's every sport. Because they just don't want the drama. The other thing that coaches are getting into now is they're starting to check the parents' social media accounts. Because they don't want that drama either. They don't want the helicopter parent coming in. So your social media presence can also be impacting your kids. Oh, that didn't come out right.
There was a guy
Yes, sir.
who runs a company called Clear, and he captures pictures off the internet, like billions of them, from 15 years ago. Like he started years ago doing it. So if you say, for instance, you deleted something 5 years ago, thinking that it's gone, he probably hasn't. And then what he does is he's doing it for AI purposes, for facial recognition, and he sells this evidence to police, like to law enforcement and stuff like that. But like you can use it for anything that you want. So even if you deleted something, more than likely somebody has it somewhere.
The other big one that I show kids too is the Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine. Through the web. So you can go back and look at websites from a long time ago. So even if they had sites that are long time, from years ago, some of you that are a little older in the room might have had a MySpace page. Those are still out there in the netherworld. So you can go out and find them. They're still available. So just again, some data on how employers are looking. Your high school kids are looking for summer jobs. Some of these places I work, our big employer is Hershey Park in the summer. I don't think they're looking as much, but some of these other ones are looking at kids and their social media profiles. So what's the line? When online pranking goes too far. We've seen this. We've seen this a lot lately where kids are just pranking other kids. They actually have a name for it. Like where they're getting beat in a video game, and they will find out the opponent's IP address. And they'll take that IP address and track it to their house. And then they'll call 911 to say something's going on at that house. What's that? Just to disrupt them from the game. Because when they get kicked out of the game and they have to stop playing the game, they get booted and banned. Right? That's why I can't ever play video games, because I've got to get up and I've got to go do something else. I can't sit there for an hour and play like League of Legends or whatever. Because then you get booted and you can't go back, you get banned. Do the people who, there was a guy who because several years ago videotaped a dead body in a Japanese forest or something and got in big trouble for it. It's like they call it the suicide forest or something like that. Some of you, I see you're nodding heads, you've heard about this, right? This guy videotaped it and shared it online and thought it was funny. Or some of these other videos out there that these kids watch and they just think they're funny, and I don't know, I can't get it. The kid who wears a dog shock collar and somebody else hits the button on it. And I'm like, that's just not funny. Make good choices. So we're all familiar with cyberbullying. We talked a little bit about that. The problem with cyberbullying, as we know, is it doesn't turn off. I mean, in the olden days, if you will, a kid could go home and get away from the bully. They could hide out in their room. Now, it's 24/7, 365 that they have to put up with the bully. And the bully doesn't have to be in their school. It could be in any school. Even if that bully would somehow get kicked out of this school and goes to another school or moves or something, that bully can follow them everywhere. And then that same bully can hide behind fake accounts and continue to attack and say things. And then that bully can get pictures of the victim and post them because they have friends that are friends with this kid. And it's just constant vicious cycle. But now, fortunately, again, especially as we get as the kids get older, it becomes a misdemeanor, and then it is a crime in Pennsylvania. So I talked about Googling yourself. Again, get kids to Google themselves. So Dr. Mike Ribble talked about the 9 elements of digital citizenship. So I highly recommend that you go take a look at this. So from health and wellness, we all use the app, the Lose It app, right? But it's also about balancing your online and offline time, security. How many of you change your passwords regularly? 1, 2 people, right? Practice safe computing, right? How much access do you have? What are your rights and responsibilities? There's law, etiquette, commerce. I woke up this morning. when I went on Facebook, I went to my email and I checked my email and I got this one. Your Amazon order has shipped. I'm like, what did my wife buy? Right? I knew she bought something. So it's about commerce and how do we buy and purchase and sell. How can we use the internet as a vehicle to sell products that we may create? We've got lots of kids that are out there. How many of you have artists or poets or singers that could be highlighting and sharing their good work online? It's not just about your football players and their star plays or your basketball players, right? You've got kids that can sing and kids that can act. And they should be having their own YouTube channels. So we need to embrace teachable moments. This post right here caused me a lot of grief, actually, online, and my son. So that's my son, Christopher. He had just graduated from high school. We were in Florida for Disney Duel's wrestling tournament. He said, "Dad, I really like this artist, this musical artist. He died at 21 years old. He was shot. I want to go see his grave, and I want to go see," because this was like the day before his birthday or something like that, or the day before he got shot. We want to go see where he was shot, and I want to go see it. We were only like an hour and a half away. I said, fine. He's like, I'll pay for gas. He's like, I just want to do this. We're this close. I said, all right, fine. So I took this picture. And for those of you who don't know, he's one of those emo rappers, and the language is terrible. But if you actually boil down to it, the language and the music is very emotional and heart-wrenching because of the things that he went through, the artist. I don't recommend you play it in your classroom, right? So I can't listen to it very long. There's a couple of songs I can listen to. But he wanted to go see this. So I posted this. And people started slamming me. Why would you let your son listen to this guy? Why would you? Because he was accused of rape. And he was accused of, these bad things this artist was. He was in jail for drugs and things like that. So I went to CJ and I showed it. I showed it to them. I said, these people are saying that I should ban you from listening to this. And he was able to justify why he listens to it and why how he was falsely accused of rape and how he got out of jail early because of it. But so it was about impressions, and it was just for one image that I posted that started this backlash against me. But again, you can read the story about it, but this, what are you sharing? And how does it work? So we talked about this one, right? The red solo cup. Anybody ever remember this story? This girl was from this area, right? She was from Brownsville. Or right, I think. Maybe it wasn't. She went to Millersville, right? So student teacher in Millersville. She posted this picture online of the drunken pirate at a party. She lost. She was never certified as a teacher. So the story headline was, girl posts picture online, can't get her to become a teacher, gets fired from being a teacher, etc., etc. Well, if you dig into the story a little bit, when she was student teaching, she didn't complete all of the requirements. She got poor reviews. Her lesson plans weren't bad. She was often late. So no, the school didn't grant her teaching certificate because she didn't complete the requirements to be a teacher, because she failed her student teaching. And so she posts this and everybody blames this picture. But if you dig deeper into the story, that's what happened. I know I have a couple minutes. This was famous, right? How many of you liked or shared this story? Right? This was a famous one, right? Because this MAGA teenage kid from a Catholic school, did this. It's a great story. If you don't know the full story, you have to go back and research. I don't have a whole lot of time to talk about it. But this kid, I just stood there and smiled at him. The Washington Post or something like that shared this image and shared this video. It went viral. He now has a lawsuit that he won against all of those news outlets for fake news reporting. Everybody remember this guy? Carson King? He stood behind one of the ESPN booths at a football game, held up a sign, said, "Need money for Coors Light?" Send it and put a GoFundMe or a Venmo account. Yeah, so he held up this sign, "I got no money for beer, I'm a poor college student." Right? So the Coors Light started to send him money, and these people, he made thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that people would send to his Venmo account so he could buy beer. Coors Light said, "Wes, we'll give you beer for a year. We'll make a donation to this charity for you." Well, it turns out that this young man has a darker past, that he made some pretty inappropriate tweets talking about referencing African Americans and different things. So he was a 16-year-old high school student, right? He made fun of, in light of black people killed in the Holocaust, called African American women gorillas and things like that. So really bad stuff. So that cost him. So Anheuser-Busch, they pulled the beer for a year kind of thing, but they continued. They did honor their request to make a donation to the charity, because kids have digital tattoos. It's out there forever. All right. So real quick. We need to talk about this, so in your admin meetings and your teacher meetings, how do we have regular conversations? And not just with you, we have we call them parent coffees, that we talk about, digital citizenship and kids being online and stuff like that. There's no app that's a solution. I found this one interesting because it's all about mental health too, because kids are so worried about their social life and how they're being viewed online. And there's actually one guy said that companies are actually making these apps so that they're addictive. What can we do over students or teachers who address bullying? So we had an incident where a kid was sitting in class, writing notes on the thing, and someone filmed him because he was sitting there with his hand in his pocket going like this, right? And it like this. And literally within seconds, every other kid in the school had that video. Right? I'm not going to, you all think what they thought this kid was doing in class. Well, it turns out this kid has a skin condition. And he was scratching. So that got 4 kids suspended for a day. Because they shared this video of this kid. Right? It also prompted a call, and we got an email to everybody that this parent said, yes, you are allowed to send that and tell that. Kid was embarrassed for weeks. Out of school, he had to work from home because he was just completely embarrassed because he has a skin condition that he has no control over scratching. It's all over his body, apparently. And when he fails to take his medication at the right time, it gets really bad. Right? But these kids thought he was doing something else in class. Everybody know all these apps? TikTok. Right? You got to do the TikTok. Right? YouTube is good. Snapchat. Discord. If you don't know Discord, it's a chat for gamers. Lots of bad stuff happens there. League of Legends is the game that all the esports, if you were in the hall, they were playing esports. A lot of talk here about esports. Right? League of Legends is the game. This is Overwatch, another huge esports game in high school where kids talk. Fortnite, they play at home. Twitter, you're familiar with. Instagram. How many of your kids have a Finsta? It's a fake Instagram account where they can post whatever they want and they think they're hidden. Right? I like the kids who say I love the kids who, if you go to their Instagram accounts, right? They've got, blocked, private, but they've got visco dot something, and you click on that and all the pictures that they post on Instagram are out there. All right. But we as adults need to practice and model virtual integrity. So that's me. There's the bit.ly link if you'd like my slide deck. I thank you all for coming. I think I'm about on time. Any questions? You're welcome. Thanks.
I have a student in class where they're talking about technology works.
Mm-hmm.
The underlying stuff, not necessarily this. He said, anything you search goes, if you go or save or anything like that, when we say it goes to the cloud, it's like it's a physical server somewhere.
Right.
It's going into a computer, and we were talking about binary code.
Oh, 0101?
Yeah, and they were like, well, what if you search, because you see the kids' faces in middle school get real nervous, and they're like, well, what if you search incognito? And I said, well, who made incognito?
Right. It's still there.
Google. I'm like,
Google.
Like, oh God.
Yeah. How many of you have searched for something on Facebook like the marketplace, and then all of a sudden you get all these ads? Or like my wife just bought something from Amazon, right? It's going to show up in my Facebook feed. I guarantee you.
We had a kid recently create a teacher, like a 5th grader, create a teacher account on like Seesaw or something, and then shared it with 2 or 3 of his buddies, and they were just sending like nothing inappropriate, but still he posed as a teacher account, and so
Yep.
he could send drawings and messages back and forth.
Our big one right now is teachers, they use Kahoot a lot as like bell ringers or like test reviews. Apparently there's a hack that you can invite millions of people into a Kahoot. You just go out and you put the code into this website and it spams it.
Yeah.
So I told the teachers, I said, well, the next time it happens, give everybody in the class a 0. It's that simple. Yes, ma'am.
I was just showing.
In the back. Sorry.
I was going to say, it seems stupid that the big thing now too is to try to go viral.
Yes.
Try to do something.
Stupid. So stupid that it goes viral.
That you go viral.
Right. Because I want to be a YouTube star. That's not the point. It's like trying to be, I want to be a quarterback in the NFL. Right? It's almost as rare.
I was actually showing my family how you get into your Google account and your location settings. If they're not set right, Google has the 30 places that you go all the time and
Yes.
55 places that they think you go regularly, but they can't confirm it. And so we're looking back, and my dad's like, "Oh yeah, I went there once," and I'm like, "It's the craziest stuff," and people just don't know to turn it off.
Right.
Even when it's off, that doesn't guarantee that Google's not still collecting it.
So That's location settings.
Location settings on your phone too. So if you post a picture somewhere and you post that picture online, I can get the meta information of that picture and see where you were. Like, thank you.
But like no matter what you do, if you can turn anything off you want, they're still powering that device.
They are.
So they're taking anything. Not that
It's
they're
crazy.
watching you.
But they're watching the kids, and the kids don't get that.
Someone that doesn't
It's
hold
not always
that.
about what, how
Right
they're
there.
using it, but it's about how people that are hacking and taking that data and using it.
And that's more and more prevalent these days, is these data breaches. And I mean, how many of you have had your credit card information stolen or identity stolen or something, or know somebody that has? Cool. Thank you so much, everyone. Everybody get this?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you again.
You're welcome, thanks.